But before introducing the topics, I will introduce myself here because that actually probably help you understand which kind of background do I come, so that my knowledge which comes out in this webinar comes through these experiences and the knowledge I've gained over these years. So I had studied throughout in Delhi. My education went into school till 12th. Then I joined NDA, National Defense Academy. I hardly knew about defense at that particular moment. Today, scenario is very tense, and I have been very fortunate to serve in those areas of Kargil and Chushul, where the critical, battlefields or the tense areas have developed. So I connect very well there. And when I joined defense, I joined as an engineer. I joined as an electronics and mechanical. I did my BTech during the army, and also then I did my computer engineering also. As an engineer in the defense, we need to do all kinds of jobs, which probably the industry also does. It's almost in the same path. The concept is same, the material is different, the product is different, but I think the processes are very similar. And we have, in defense also, we had very stringent policies and systems in place. So when I left army and I joined the industry factory, my MD asked me, Dheeraj, you come from a background where there is a lot of systems in place, there is a lot of discipline in your area. We would like you to help us in building our good processes and procedures. So I really experienced in that area. But then after having gained a lot of industry experience, so my knowledge and experience has revolved around production. I was GM production also. I was reporting to my MD there, where I had 1,000 workers there. So I was doing all kind of work, like you talk about supply chain management, where there's a product, there's a quality. I was a lead auditor in ISO 9000. I developed the whole system with the 1,000 workers there. We had an inventory of 25,000 items. We were overhauling the tanks of defense, from stripping to giving it a new shape there. So all the HR policies, I was GM operations also. I was looking after the labor issues, the recruitment issues. So I had a lot of experience in an industrial concept, but my qualification mainly has been my computer, and that my head has been forte there. Whenever I went to industry, I used my data there. The limitation which I faced in that time was the data was not coming in the form which I wanted to come, where data could be analysis. And this is probably the struggle which any industry goes in, because you don't have a data, and once the data starts coming, you don't know how to analyze it. So what has happened in this last few years, in the industry has moved into automation. It has got a full-fledged ERP system where the data is getting created. And now you have lots of data from all the sources, like your plant maintenance, the operations, the HR. So now what we are really concerned about, how to use this data. This is happening in all the industry. We have now billions of records, we have GBs of data. We don't know how to use it for our intelligence, for our good decision making. And that is the challenge we find. And that's the reason I elevated myself to the next level of using this data, that is called data analytics. And when you move into data analytics, these terms become familiar to you, like data mining, machine learning, AI, deep learning, reinforcement. So these become, popular topics to know about it. And just knowing of these areas is not sufficient, because they could be very theoretical. But when you apply to the industry, you need to capture the data, and the data cannot be captured in manual form. ERP is one form of place where data is getting captured. But the other places where we capture the data are our machines. And that's the reason we find that IoT is coming to a play. IoTs are sensors. We all have sensors in our fans, lights, and cars there. But when we apply to the machines, they become IIoT. So sensors have become very important. Ultimately, they give you data to your system, and then you need to learn to analyze. And now that is an ability which I think every manager of today should have it. It is, developing a new maturity, learning new skills of understanding large volumes of data. So looking at my qualification experience, it revolves around industry, it revolves around data, it revolves around technology around which I've had. So I think I'll try my best to use all what I've learned in this last 30 years and now my 50 years of life. I'm now 54, and having handled so many people from so many domains, including academia here. So I move to the next slide here. So I happen to see the profile of various people in your organization. I have tried to put them in the various departments to the best of my ability. Please pardon me if I missed out anybody's name and I put you in the wrong place. So this gives me familiarity of what of your organization. I can see there is one management which I have not explored. This is a mind map which I have made, and I do a lot of mind maps. So this helps me understanding these systems. So there is a quality which checks on the production. There is a finance and accounts. There is operations. There is a procurement, and then we have maintenance department looking after. There is a strategy. There is a marketing and sales. There is HR. There are projects, legal, and the admin. So I think I browsed through your link, some of you's LinkedIn profile. I've gone through your site. I have tried to understand your organization so that when I put up picture and this course content, I understand what is your need and what is your current status here. Now, these were some of your expectations which I've captured. I could reword and reparaphrase them so that it looks easily understand. Most of them, they revolve around some basics of Industry 4 to probably, these are the expectations, and they revolve around probably understanding the data analytics, how does that role play, and what is Industry 4 about, what are the basic framework of Industry 4, what do we have to understand about when we, about this revolving around this term here. So there is AI there. So what we have done is we have divided this, your inputs into modules. These business exciting may not come under marketing. It cuts across. Okay, thank you. So thank you for correcting it. And I will just, without interacting with you, I have tried to make an organization chart. So probably there could have been some mistakes. But I have tried to map it into a general industry format. So we have structured in 3 modules, starting from Industry 4, what is industry, the principles of smart factory, industry principles, automation, and then we move on to the data part of it. There is one industry path, there is one tree of the Industry 4, there is another tree about data analytics, and the other is about IoTs and the sensors. How do you use these sensors for your automation part of it? So these are the topics. They are all shared with you in the LMS. I will introduce the LMS also, how I've structured.